is in that. Well, thank you. Recordings in progress. Mark is in an alternate location and he will take over. We have a battery inverter running a laptop, and we have Jay the cook's iPhone providing us a internet connection, and we're hoping that it will be stable for at least a few minutes here. So yes, indeed, this is the summer starting. We were without power Saturday, which was the first full day of the staff, from after lunch until after midnight because of all the storms, and then power went out early afternoon here, and it might come back, it might not. The problem, as you know, is a pole person's not going to go up a pole to fix a line if there's lightning and thunder, which there is. So in any case, we're doing our best. You've already got the sense from me of what the weather's like, which has been most interesting. Those of you coming week one, they're at least saying Thursday, Friday should be clear, and Saturday, Sunday should be only a slight chance of rain. So it could be a slight chance of rain every day, but we're not going to be in the mode that we're in right now. So that should hopefully be really, really nice. So I know you've heard me mention the names. So Bob Johnson, Camp Director, Todd Shuren right next to me, and Mark Jenkins at home as other of our three camp directors. And from the council, David Kopsa, the director of camping, is actually running the meeting for us, and he is also connected. So again, welcome to everybody who is here. We're going to do a little bit of opening information, and then we're actually going to switch and let you ask questions, and any questions will be through chat. Mark will read the questions for us and let us know, and whoever's the appropriate person will answer that question. So staff has really been doing a number so far. It has been most interesting, as you can imagine, going to a meal and the storms coming in, and of course tents still have to be set up. Cots still have to be loaded into trucks and moved around. Program areas, waterfront, everything's got to be set up so we're ready for you guys, and we will be. And the kind staff, obviously much younger than I, are willing and able and capable of doing that for us. And speaking of the staff, we have lots of fresh faces who provide.
Bob, can you pause for 1 minute here?
What's that?
Can you just pause for 1 minute here?
Sure.
We're bringing in a bunch more people.
Okay.
That's okay.
They might not have been, but other than
All right. Thank you to everyone who's just coming in now.
Yeah.
not so bad. All right. Well, sounds like everybody's in now. We apologize. I won't do my whole spiel again, but just so those of you joining know, we are running on interesting battery power up here at camp as we're out of power. So if Todd and I disappear, Mark is going to take over. Although I think I already told you where his location is. So mentioning staff, we will have lots of fresh staff, of course, as we always do, but luckily we have quite a few returning faces to keep the stability at camp and make it fun and enjoyable for anybody. Myself, Todd, and Mark, of course. Bill Kane as the head commissioner again. Jay Fink as the head cook. Frank Colling as commissary director and baker. And then quite a few returnees in the kitchen. Seamus as our steward has returned. Bruce up at the range. Lots of other the same. Our nature director, Colby, is back. We have new at aquatics and Scoutcraft, but they're not new to camp. They've been there many years learning the ropes. Aiden at Handicraft is also back and has joined us. And Jack Durr is running our managing our trading post for us. And we've got a new aquatic director, but most of the staff is experienced, and he's new, but he's not new to us. Mike has been around a very long time, and then Matt Austin has returned as our health officer. So we do have some strength there. As I mentioned, once we finished all my stuff, then you are welcome to answer chat questions. We're not going to answer any questions or hopefully even look at them until I give the cue that we're ready for questions, because as you know, that distracts from the meeting. Ready, so that you're just tuning in. We're expecting by the time week 1 starts, that'll just be hopefully minor showers. Those of you who have not been here for a couple summers, we do have a brand new trading post building and very enjoyable, lots of stuff in there. It certainly turned into a focal point of the camp that everybody likes to go to. So again, if you haven't been here in a couple years, you will see that. We were able to put some additional pavilions in the different areas of camp. So when we have inclement weather like we have now, there's a little more coverage for everybody. We also will have some additional picnic tables around in the camp. One of the big things for this summer is what we'll start calling our A-field shower house, which in the past has been called our old shower house. It's also been called our classic shower house, but we'll call that our A-field shower house. So that is now going to be a universal shower house with some caveats. So each room will now have a doorknob and will be completely sealed off. So for changing purposes and showering purposes, even though they're the same showers, they'll now have both hot and cold water, and you'll be able to change in the room. It's a sealed locked room, and we will have we'll have one side male, one side female, and we'll have times for adults, times for youth. So it's not exactly like what we call our upper shower house or a new shower house, where every single room opens to the outside and anybody can go at any time, but it's certainly going to be a lot better for everybody because it will be much nicer inside. There'll be sealed rooms, and we will still have the 2 flush toilets outside of that shower house for everybody. Did want to mention to everybody that all swim tests do need to be done here at camp. That's always a big question. We are a dark water lake. So no, a swim test that you've done before camp anyplace else will not work. And that's directly from our health department. So it's not an option. So when they come to camp, hopefully on Sunday, you would take a swim test, even if you've taken one for some other event before that. Speaking of the waterfront, we'll still have that fun water element that we introduced last summer. We'll be down at the waterfront for some fun for everybody. Campsite assignment is always a big question, and nothing has changed. For those who've been here before, you are not going to know your campsite assignment until you arrive at camp and your host greets you and takes you to your campsite. So speaking of arriving at camp, remember that is after 1 p.m. on Sunday is when you may arrive in camp. We will not have the staff there to greet you until 1 p.m. So they'll greet you. The host will take you into your campsite. We certainly ask that you be in camp before 3 p.m. Otherwise, you may have some trouble making your way around and doing the swim test and doing the safety lecture and doing the medical rechecks. So probably, by 2:30, if you can, that would be fantastic. Everybody comes at 1. There's going to be some delays, but I mean, we'll get everybody through. Don't worry about that. Also, speaking of campsite assignments, we do call, assuming we have the right name and number on our list, we do call the week before camp to whoever that leader is who's listed. Usually it's Todd who calls, and just to see if you have any questions or concerns, and also to update you about any things that might be happening at camp. It won't be to saying anything about the campsites, of course. Do remember that all adults, every single adult who is here in camp after 5 p.m. Sunday or before 9 a.m. Saturday, they must be registered in with the Boy Scouts of America, regardless of whether they're a leader, a parent. It doesn't matter. If they're going to be in camp after 5 p.m. on Sunday, before 9 a.m. on Saturday, they've got to be registered with the Boy Scouts of America. So please make sure you take care of that. And if you don't have all your leaders now and you're working on it, please don't wait till the day before to try to register someone. It's going to be impossible for the council to get that name through the background check system that National has set up. And that background check is required by us to have for the state of New Jersey. So again, do not wait to the last minute to get your leaders, and please make sure that they are registered. Don't forget, of course, 2 Deep leadership. That is the standard of the Boy Scouts of America. And that means 2 Deep leadership for a girl troop, 2 Deep leadership for a boy troop. If your group has, or your charter organization has, both a boy troop and a girl troop, they're not together. They are separate troops. They function as separate troops. They have separate leadership. They have a separate senior patrol leader. And yes, they have to have 2 Deep leadership, and a 21-year-old female is required for the girl troop. So again, hopefully that clears up any questions that you may have. Don't forget the Leaders Guide, available online at campnovibosco.org. It gives you a lot of details on all these items. So Todd is going to talk just a little bit about some dietary stuff with you here.
So hello, folks. If you have scouts with dietary needs like allergies, religious exemptions, vegetarians, things like that, on Sunday when they could do the tour of camp and come through the dining hall, I'll take that information from them, get them in our book, and our kitchen does keep track of any allergies and things like that for our campers. I'll go over a menu with them as far as what they need to stay away from. And then for like religious exemptions or for vegetarians, we do have a leaders lounge where they can bring their own food and prepare that instead of our meals. We also have an alternate menu for vegetarians that you can check out in the Leaders Guide or on the website. And that'll tell you what the vegetarian options are for our vegetarians.
All right. And then just a reminder for those of you who came in late to the meeting, we will do chat, but we will not do that to the end. So if you're putting in something to chat now, you're not paying attention to the meeting, and we're not paying attention to your chat. So I'll let you know when we're finished here, and then we will open up the chat and start answering all your questions. And we're going to stay here till we've answered them all. So don't think that you've got to rush and get them in. Todd again is going to talk a little bit about the Trail to Eagle program.
So our Trail to Eagle program encompasses 4 merit badges, communications, and the 3 citizenship badges. Bill Kane is still running that program for us. It requires that scouts be at least their 3rd year in camp, and they are at least star rank. And then all the prerequisites for those badges need to be prepared beforehand. They need to be handed in Sunday night in a typed fashion so that Bill can go over them. And then there are separate sections for Trail to Eagle, typically after lunch, that those merit badge scouts need to attend in order to take those merit badges. You do not have to take all of the Trail to Eagle merit badges. You can select which ones you want to take for the different time periods that are in the Leaders Guide as well.
Thanks, Todd. And then, as all of you know, medicals every year are a complicated thing and have gotten more complicated. And certainly any scout and any adult coming to camp must have a full medical, regardless of how many nights you are staying in camp. We are a full week camp. We require a full medical, and Mark has some medical information for you.
So remember to make sure that you have part A, B, and C, with part C being signed by the doctor. There is no COVID form this year, so you don't have to bring anything with that or any pre-test or pre-check or anything. If any scout is taking medicine, they should bring the medicines in the original container. And it should be noted on section B and also signed off by the doctor that they're taking that. They'll get checked into the health lodge on Sunday, and then they'll be given back so they can be distributed out throughout the week.
Okay, we had a little freeze here at camp, but hopefully you didn't lose us. We are back. Just also a reminder, a little different again, if you haven't been coming to camp recently, Nobi has always been a troop where the merit badge, a camp where the merit badge sign up takes place here at camp. And that's something that we try to stick by for almost everything. And the main reason for that, of course, is that it is the leaders who approve scouts signing up for the merit badge, not the scout themselves, not the parents. That's not the scouting way. Obviously, you try to do what they want to do, of course. But with that in mind, just because of sizes and classes, we have, starting last summer, we have had advanced sign up the week before for some of the badges, and Mark is going to fill you in about that also.
So this summer we're doing advanced sign up for 5 badges: kayaking, sailing, climbing, welding, and woodwork. Last summer we had pretty good success with it. I don't think many people got turned away from the badges that they were interested in, and they were able to sign up with pretty much ease. This year it's going to open Wednesday at 2 o'clock the week before. So this is all done through Black Pug, the 24/7 scouting that you registered your troops through. Leaders, if you've chosen to open up the parent portal to your troops, the individual scouts can sign up via the QR code associated with their name. If you haven't opened up the parent portal, then you have the ability yourself to sign them up as the unit leader. And there's a certain number of slots for each merit badge. So for example, climbing merit badge is limited to 12 scouts per period. So 24 scouts total in the 2 periods can take the badge. And then once that's full, that's full. I will say at least 3 of the weeks last summer, we had open spots in camp and we were able to advertise and allow people to take it in camp. But there's obviously no guarantees going into that. And I like to say this, but Marissa at the council is the expert on that. So if there's any questions about it, or if there's an issue at 2 o'clock on a Wednesday, Marissa is the one that you want to reach out to.
All right, thanks, Mark. Just a reminder, not a reminder, a mention to all the new troops and a reminder to troops that are regulars who have been here recently. We no longer use any of the open pit latrines in camp. So open pit latrines are a piece of camp history. So what does that mean? That means we have our 2 shower houses with each have flush units. It means we have our trading post, which has flush units. That for every 2 campsites, actually some of them have their own, but at a minimum for every 2 campsites, we do have a flushable unit that the troop the bathrooms near your campsite, as well as the ones at the central facility. So we're not using, my internet connection is unstable. We are not using those old pit latrines anymore. And last but not least on my list is, please be sure to check your merit badge requirements and prerequisites again in the pre-camp leaders guide at campnobibosco.org website. Don't want everybody coming to camp and being surprised about things. All right, at this time, we'll open up questions. If Mark knows, he can start with whoever puts the question now, and anybody from before, you'll move to the end of the line, but I'm not sure we'll be able to do that. But take it away, Mark, and obviously field to Todd and I if you need to.
All right, we're going to start here with, all right, we'll go with Alex. For first class adventure, they're doing merit badges, or they're doing requirements from Scout, Tenderfoot, second and first class. We'll share that online tomorrow at campnobibosco.org, so you can see what they're actually working on. Scouts in First Class Adventure work their way in a different trail. So if they're brand new to scouting, they would work on scout and tenderfoot ranks. If they've been around for a little bit, they might be second class already, then they would work on first class requirements. Natasha, the link for the pre-camp merit badge sign up is all done through Black Pug, the 24/7 scouting registration site. And your leader, if that's not you, can find that. For Eric, will there be carports set up in the campsites? They were actually getting dropped off today. So we've got pop-ups and tarps. Some sites have carports. It all depends on kind of the luck of the draw for how that goes. But they're in the campsites right now. Christina, what are the age requirements and deadlines to join staff for next summer? So what we do is it's 14 and a half to become a counselor in training at camp. We do a sign up in camp at the end of the week. Scouts are able to put their name into a book. Somewhere around the holidays, we send out a letter to everybody. And then we start with interviews in the end of January, kind of February, then start hiring from there. We're at a council to do. Donna, shoot me an email about coming up for a visit at marc@nobibosco.org. And that kind of goes for anyone. If you have a direct question after this, my email, Todd's email, and Bob's email are all listed in the leader's guide. So feel free to shoot us a direct email if we don't answer your question directly. Do campers sleep outside in tents? If so, what happens in the event of storms, thunder, and lightning? Our buildings are always open, so they're able to get inside of there if they feel the need to. If we feel the need to call everyone in for shelter, we've got a camp-wide emergency system, and we would assemble at the quartermaster, the dining hall, a couple of our other cabins to get them out of the elements here. So the question is, I don't see orienteering in the merit badge prerequisite list. Would you know what those are? If there's no prerequisites listed, that means we don't have any prerequisites for the badge. So everything can be completed in camp, and a scout who is diligent in attending the class, doing all their work, should be able to be okay with that. When do we start registering scouts for their merit badges? Only for the 5 pre-camp merit badges are they before camp. Everything else happens on Monday, beginning at 9 a.m. and then whatever period they want to take it in for there. Hooray for upgrades, excellent. For provisional scouts, please advise the process, leader assignments, check-in, merit badge, blue cards, etc. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Heather, shoot me an email. How does the troop handle a scout's medications? So how does that, the way that works is on Sunday, as the troop goes on the tour, they go down to the health lodge. That's where the medical recheck will take place. Their medical will be looked at and medicines can be checked in with one of our health officers. They then get put into a med box, and that med box is logged. So all the medicines we know are in camp, and then leaders are distributing them out to the scouts after they've been logged in there. If there's any advanced medication, if somebody's taking daily injections, if something needs to be refrigerated, if something needs electricity to be administered, that would all happen from the health lodge. That's what we're talking about if we say contact us about any special cases. Things like normal ADHD medicine, we get a lot of that, so you don't need to call about that. Does the med form B and C both need a doc to sign it? The packet shows B and C in the past. It's just form C. B does need to be signed if they're taking medicine. If they're not taking any medicine, then it doesn't have to be signed. All medicines do need to get checked in through the health lodge. Should we answer it, Bob? What is the theme? Oh, his microphone's not working. Luckily mine is, so I'll share the screen here. Get ready, get your phones out. This will also be going live shortly in just a little bit. Somebody give me a thumbs up if you see Eric Makar, give me a thumbs up if you see just the black screen. All right, let me know if you can hear the sound.
Hello?
Yeah, Joanna, is that you? You've been out in Blairstown for the past couple days. Did you get any leads on that story? I need a status report.
Yeah, sorry about that, boss. I spent the last few days asking locals about wherever this Jack fellow is. However, I think I finally found out where he's hiding.
Great news, kid. Now, go get that story.
Hello? Is anyone home?
Now stay down, you piece of rubbish. Oh, good day, mate.
Are you the one they call Jack?
Oh, yeah, that's me. Here, come on in, take a seat. Don't talk on me.
Okay. Thank you for agreeing to meet with me, sir. So, I know you are a famous world traveler and your career is winding down, but rumor has it you are planning one final adventure. So, what's it gonna be, Jack?
Well, let me tell you, I've been all over the world. I've been to jungles, tundras, deserts, and nothing ever felt like the place I was born. And that's actually why I plan to retire. I just want that one final adventure back to where I was, back to my roots. And I should be all happy to do that.
That's awesome, sir. Where do you plan on going?
Oh, why would I tell you when I could just show you? How would you like to be my sidekick?
Sidekick? Sir, I'm flattered and all, but you see, I have this summer job, and I was gonna use some of my spare time planning my Eagle Scout project, and
Kid, please don't humble yourself. Please trust me. We have the airplane fuel. It's already fueled up. I just got to put a couple things together, and we should be good to go. Let's go out. Grab a horse.
Okay. Hey, listen, Jack, I didn't come to this prepared. I have my Eagle Scout project, and I have an Eagle project, and I have...
Wait. Listen to me. If you are going to be my sidekick, you're going to need to have a sidekick name. You said your name was, what was it? Jolene, Jojo, Joy. No. From now on, your name's going to be Little Joey.
Little Joey. All right. Where did you say we were going again?
I'm going to the place I call home. We are going down under.
All right, and that's just gone live on all of our social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So please share it out with your troops. Let them know it's there. And man, we just got a lot of questions during that. Whew. All right, question about the mess hall. Are they assigned tables or are they random? Saad, you want to try to do that? You are now unmuted.
Yes, we're unmuted. Yes.
So the dining hall tables are not random, they are assigned. And not only they are assigned, but the number of scouts and leaders at each table will be assigned as well. The troops handle assigning the waiters to the tables for each meals.
So it'll be we will give you the number of scouts, number of adults, number of staff. You decide who those adults and scouts are at those tables.
All right. What's the limit per kayaking class? Kayaking is 20 per class. How do scouts with Provo get any badges from camp? So Provisionals is our troop run group where we provide the troop leadership. And we bring scouts in from all around who want to come for either another week at camp or they're not able to go with their normal troop. We're offering that our weeks 5 and 6. Anybody who signs up for that and a normal week, like with their troop, could qualify for the camp sampler discount. So you may want to encourage your scouts to do that. It's pretty much the early bird rate at any point, more or less, not quite exactly. As part of that, they get a theme patch. They would get part of the achievement patch if they earn that. They can choose the merit badges they want. Our leadership could write the blue cards for them. We do encourage them to speak to you, and we'll be sending emails directly to them about how to sign up in advance if they want to get any of those 5 pre-sign up badges. Again, that's offered weeks 5 and 6. If anybody did want to encourage their troops to come for, or scouts to come for a second week.
And Mark, I don't know if you mentioned it because I couldn't hear that we give them the cards back before they go home on Saturday. That was a question also, was how do they get the badges? So we would give them back to them from our troop to them.
The actual blue card, not the physical, like
Correct,
merit badge
the
offer.
actual blue card, that's right.
All right, how does a parent know a scout has gotten their registration done? You would work with the troop leadership on that, or if they've opened the parent portal, you would get confirmation through that. But that is a question for your troop leader. We broke up around the latrines. Could you repeat that info, Bob?
Sure, sorry about that. Yeah, we do not have a great connection here. We do not use pit latrines in camp anymore. So it's all flush. We've got our what we call the upper or new shower house with flush toilets, our A field or lower shower house with flush toilets at the trading post. And then for some campsites or shared by 2 campsites, we also have flush latrines, as we call them, but we do not use open pit latrines anymore in camp.
Leaders with a CPAP machine. Is there any site with power, Bob?
There are no sites with power. So you have to bring a battery backup to run a CPAP machine. You're welcome to charge it at our quartermaster building.
Part C medical form acceptable as long as it's from any time in 2023. If it's in 2023, it would be acceptable. A Part C medical is good for a year or to the end of the month for a year. So for example, if you had it done on July 1st or July 4th, 2022, that's good through the end of July. If you were coming any week in July, you'd be fine with it. If you're coming in August, then it would not be fine. You'd have to have another physical done. Jim Valentino, send me a copy of that medical, and I will tell you whether or not it's correct. For the mess hall, are we assigning seats, scout seats, or no? Can we rotate tables within the troop? Yes, so we're moving on. We're moving past that COVID stage. We're going to give you the tables, and you can sit at any table that you would want to sit at with your troops.
Sometimes leaders rotate.
Leaders rotate, yeah.
Yeah.
Does in-processing work differently for individual scouts coming without a troop? How do they connect with their home site for the week? For Provo, they check in. I'm thinking, Charles, your question has to do with scouts coming Provo. They would check in at the office, and then we link them up with their troop for the week, the provisional troop. For leaders splitting the week, how do we get a swim test and medical check-in done when we get there midweek? You want to talk about that, Todd?
Yeah, as the leader there's coming in, they report to the office. When they hand us their medical form, we send them over to the health lodge to get a medical recheck, and then our health officer will give them a buddy tag. The buddy tag will be blank, and then they have to arrange with our aquatic staff to take their swim test. Usually that's during like a instructional swim or at some other point where they have a lifeguard that they can, kind of let the leader know, like come down at like 9:30 and we'll have you take your swim test. So they would arrange that with our aquatic staff.
And then also in terms of that medical recheck, if the health officer is in the middle of a merit badge or something, the leader who comes in midweek is going to have to, they will not be able to get that medical recheck immediately. That may be delayed based on the circumstances.
There was an email from Marissa asking for the list of adults. She said the camp needed the list by Friday. What happens if we need to change or add an adult? If that's the case that you need to change getting close to your week, just let Marissa know. She has been running essentially checks on everybody coming into camp. And so she would get that information down at the council office.
But Mark,
have
I
a-
would want to emphasize to everybody that though you cannot wait until the last minute to register a leader with the Boy Scouts of America, because then it becomes impossible for us to get the background check and then they can't come to camp. So the day before is no good. New leaders who are already registered, that's one thing. If they're not registered and you're trying to bring them, you wait to the last minute, it very well may be too late.
All right, we have a scout that has an unpredictable all-star baseball schedule and may need to come to camp one day late and leave one day early. How do we navigate?
So again, scouts coming in and out of camp for schedules like that, they may miss some merit badge times and classes, and they may end up partialing the badges, but oftentimes they can talk to the counselor to make those requirements up at a different time. And as far as coordinating with the parents, as the parents come into camp to pick that kid up, we do need a leader from the troop to come down and sign that scout out. So it's nice if they coordinate it beforehand and kind of maybe send a text or something like that, that I'll be at the office at a certain time so they can come down and sign them out.
Also be mindful of the meal schedule. If a parent shows up at 6:15, the leaders are going to miss dinner. So they want to make sure that it's not during a mealtime. Is the merit badge black pug the part where it says manage participant classes? Yes, Heather, I believe that is where it's signed up for that. How do leaders volunteer to help the counselors? If you're interested, if you have skills that are particularly useful for a merit badge, things like woodworking, welding, or something along those lines, we'd encourage you to talk to the director on Sunday. We do our best to avoid kind of hovering, but definitely helping out would be a good thing, or could be a good thing.
But in terms of most of the regular merit badges, those are run by our staff.
For leaders switching halfway through the week, can they overlap during the day?
So again, yes, but not in the dining hall. So they can work, they're welcome to overlap until they switch, but they cannot both come to the dining hall.
Do non-Trail to Eagle badges, but our Eagle required badges need to be, do they need to attend Trail to Eagle, for example, camping or E-Prep? The 4 that would need to attend Trail to Eagle would be the 3 citizenship, nation, world, and community, and communication. For the other Eagle required, but non-Trail to Eagle badges, you do not. Todd, please unmute us. Oops. Are the beds canvas, bunks, or single? We need to advise our scouts on sleeping pads and bug nets. We've got classic Army military cots. The majority of them have a vinyl liner on them with springs on the side for it. So they're relatively comfortable, but I would bring a sleeping pad.
And if they have a bug net, it certainly won't hurt.
We do have really nice ones in the trading post though. Is March 13th the latest schedule and prereq, or has that been updated since then? That is the most recent update for it. Unless somebody points something out to me, I think that is what we're going to be going with. You will note we made a couple of changes, or a number of changes onto it this year. So make sure you're looking at this year's changes, including the addition of textile merit badge over at Handicraft. And we moved shotgun earlier in the day. So it's traditionally been 4 to 5. Bruce asked that we move it into the morning so he can work with scouts in 4 to 5 if he needs to, and he'll have a better kind of concept of that based on what he has there. We have new scouts that are joining us for the first time. What's your guidance? Personally, I recommend First Class Adventure. It gives them a great opportunity to be able to explore camp, to get to all the different areas. They work on some of the swimming badges or swimming requirements. They go up to the range and shoot just for fun. They go on a nice 5-mile hike on Thursday. And it really does get them pretty much everywhere in camp so that they can experience it. Most scouts seem to have a really good time with it. What are the styles?
Mark, Can I interrupt before you say the next question? I always forget to let the leaders know ahead of time that we know Sunday is a very, very busy day for them. So at our Monday leaders meeting, leaders are welcome to take their swim test at that leaders meeting or after the meeting. So leaders do not have to take their swim test Sunday if they do not want to. That's up to them. We will have a time for them to do that at the leaders meeting Monday, just because we know how busy Sunday is.
What are the style of tents at camp, assuming canvas with wood platforms? And what about the sleeping cots? They are the about 10 by 10 canvas screen tent. You can see them in the back of Mike's picture right there, if you're looking at the images. It's 2 scouts per tent, and they are on a nice wooden platform. Haney is actually going around and looking at every tent in camp this week to make sure it's put up in the proper way. And the cots, like I said, are classic military Army cots with a canvas insert on it. For badges that have fees, do the scouts pay at the merit badge or do they have to pay at the trading post in advance? They'll pay at the trading post. Things like shotgun shooting has a $15 fee. If they're doing basketry, they need to buy a basket kit, leatherwork, a leather kit, woodworking or space exploration. All those, they would purchase them at the trading post either on Sunday or they could do it really anytime on Monday and bring it to the badge. They get a little card that they're able to turn in to show that they've done that.
A quick plug for horsemanship merit badge. They would pay for that Sunday night when they sign up after the Sunday night meal, and it's a $45 fee. It's usually first come, first serve, but many weeks it doesn't fill up, so we can fill it with scouts that don't meet the age requirement if that happens.
And horsemanship's a really cool badge to get to go to.
They'll figure it out.
For kayaking, it says they need extra practice time. That's really if they're not a good kayaker. If they've kayaked before and they've got the strength and the ability, they don't really need to schedule a second period for it. But if they would be a novice boater, then they may want to do that. Is the museum open for donations? Absolutely. Shoot me an email, Dave. I thought phones weren't allowed in camp.
I didn't hear that.
Phones weren't allowed in camp.
Say that again.
Phone policy.
Oh, yes, and I should have gone over that with everybody. So absolutely no scout phones are in and around camp anywhere. With COVID, we did change the policy slightly for the troops. So at night, back in the campsite, at the end of the day's activities, leaders are welcome if they want to, and that's a troop decision to let a scout come over, send a message home, and then take the phone back. But no, phones do not go out in camp at all. They'll be taken by staff if they are seen. Adults, we do ask that you be mature, never in the dining hall, never on the A field, never at a campfire. And then if you're using it, obviously quiet mode, and you should not stand in front of scouts using your phone because that's kind of silly and embarrassing, but it also is not proper scouting. So again, we actually have boxes just like we have med boxes. And if you want, we can make that available to a troop at check-in on Sunday. They can take that to their campsite and keep the phones. And then if they want to let the kids send a text home in the evening, they're certainly allowed to do that.
If we have an overpayment, can that be used towards merit badges with additional fees like horsemanship and welding? It cannot. Those are 2 separate accounts. We don't see the money that goes into the council directly in camp. So it would all have to be done separate. Also, as a note, the trading post is a cash or check business. We don't take credit cards down there. So let your scouts know and kind of factor that in if you're thinking what to bring. The ice cream is delicious down there this year too. And the milkshake.
Do we
Can adults hang on to their meds? Yes, you can. Adults can, scouts cannot. Cell phone policy we did. When do we get the head count per table?
The head count for table is given to you Sunday as you come around on the tour. And the head count is just, again, the number of scouts, number of leaders, and number of staff that are at each dining hall table.
So when you go on the tour, you'll actually get those numbers and it'll tell you exactly what you need to know. Are we going to list the, are we going to the list of the requirements completed in the first class? Yes, Alex, I'm going to post the first class requirements tomorrow on campnovibosco.org.
Oh,
hopefully when-
Mark, I forgot to mention the pin award.
Ah, that is true.
After the theme was introduced, we do have a pin award that scouts can earn. It's the little koala bear, and it will fit right into the patch. And there's a certain number of relatively simple requirements they can do for that, but that goes along with the theme for the summer. And we have lots of those pin award copies available.
On the introductory page of the Leader's Guide, it touches on the uniform policy. The uniform was emphasized for evening and flag ceremonies. Is there anything else we should keep in mind?
Uniform, just evening and flags, right?
So yes, scout uniform is for evening colors, for flags, and for the dining hall meal. After that, it's optional for the troops. We do not require it for the campfires. So I think that's what we had. I hope that's what I have in the lead.
Anything they should or shouldn't wear?
Should or shouldn't wear anything.
Well, that's always an interesting question, isn't it? And of course, we want a scout camp to look like a scout camp, to be appropriate and modest, other than obviously when they're at the waterfront and they're in bathing suits. So we certainly prefer loose fitting clothing as best you can. And just because that seems to be most appropriate in our mixed environment.
Do adults share tents or do they get their own tent?
So most campsites, if not all, have in that tent that would be a shared facility. If we're able to, we love to give you enough tents so there's enough so you can have leaders have their own tents. Of course, a female leader does get her own tent in camp, but if it's a very busy week and we don't have room, unfortunately, sometimes, again, other than that female leader, if it's just one, leaders may have to share tents.
Then are there female adults on staff? Yes, we've got 5 female adults up there this summer. Our troop has a trailer. When is the best time to drop off the trailer?
Check it, right?
Yeah, most troops just bring their trailer with them at check-in. And many of the sites have a place in the site where you can park that trailer and leave it in the site for access. We do ask you to move the car that bought that trailer into the Cable Cut parking lot throughout the week. So the trailer tends to stay in the site while the car that bought it in stays in the Cable Cut. Then most troops retrieve that trailer sometime before checkout, but after our closing retreat ceremonies.
Looks like we're telling ghost stories here now. When does the overnight for wilderness survival take place? Does a female leader need to go if a female scout is going? That usually takes place Tuesday night, just on the other side of the lake. So it's just outside of kind of camp proper. And we'll answer the second part of that at the leaders meeting on Sunday night. Is there a minimum age for shotgun shooting merit badge? There is not a minimum age for shotgun. Unlike New York camps, anybody who wants to participate in it can. We've got a variety of shotguns that different sizes and different levels of scouts can use.
We do highly recommend that, again, the leader signs the kid. Sorry for the flashlight, but we don't have any light here in camp. it's always the leader's judgment, and the leader signs the scout up for badges. If the scout does not have the physical strength to hold a shotgun, they're not going to get the badge. You really should sign them up for another badge. So that's only the requirement. The only requirement is age-wise is common sense on the part of the leader, please.
That was good. Leaders switching during the week. Should I provide information on the additional to Marissa by email this week? 3 are in Black Pug, 3 are not. Yes, I would make sure you have the names of the people going up or switching in and out in Black Pug. And as we said, make sure that they are registered, hopefully long before the week at camp. Thanks for all the pre-work to the staff. We will pass that along, Rob. For camping and e-prep prerequisites, do they need to be typed like the citizenships? As a teacher, I do encourage them to be typed up. Kids don't know how to write anymore because they don't do it very often. So the better and easier it is to read, the better it is. That also encourages them to get them done before they get up to camp. If they're handwritten in the campsite the night before, they're not often the quality that we like to see or that we would. Another thing to kind of mention to your troops this year with ChatGPT and all that online stuff, scouts do need to be doing the work for it. We are a trustworthy organization here. So make sure that they are doing the work themselves. Do adult leaders take a swim test at the same time as scouts? They can take a swim test on Sunday. They don't have to, depending on the tour and depending on how they make it there. They can certainly do it during the week if they need to. Can an adult use their own tent? Yes, you can set up your own tent in camp. It's tough to find a non-rocky spot in the campsite, but people definitely have and people definitely do. We just ask that you put a no flame on tent sign, which we would provide to you or your commissioner will provide to you when you're checking in. Are goggles allowed for the swim tests? Absolutely. When will we get the link to register for merit badges that require pre-registration? I missed that. We're week 2. The pre-registration will come out or open up the Wednesday at 2 p.m. before your week at camp. So for example, anyone who's coming to camp week 1, you're going to be able to register on the 28th at 2 o'clock. Is there an advanced sign up and additional charge for horsemanship? There isn't not an advanced sign up for it, but there will be a meeting on Sunday night at the camp office after dinner. And there's a $45 fee for that goes directly to the farm. Can first class adventure scouts do wood carving merit badge at the same time, or do they need to complete their totem chip first? They can do it at the same time. They'll actually work on their totem chip early in the week, just in case they want to be able to go and do that. And the way we have the schedule set up, with first class adventure, scouts can choose from 11 to 12 and 4 to 5 to take a merit badge if they want to. So anything that's available during those periods. Swimming is usually a popular one, but they can sign up for anything in those 2 periods if they want to, in addition to first class adventure. Will the scouts have the opportunity to cook during the hike or maybe make arrangements to do so to fulfill cooking merit badge requirements? We do not cook on the FCA hike. Many days that's a get up to the top, take some good pictures, enjoy the view from the fire tower up there, and then turn around and come on back so we can get back for dinner in time. Can we put personal tents on the platforms? We generally recommend against the platforms because we have our tents up there. And if the tents come down, they often get damaged or don't get put up the right way. Some people have tried.
The commissioners are not going to allow them to take the tent down. If they are able to fit their tent inside, I guess that's okay. But commissioners will not allow them to take those tents down. They stay up. Do not take a tent down. But if you can set one up inside, if it fits, we're not going to argue with that.
We have 2 scouts who want to sleep in hammock tents. Is that allowed?
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, that would be allowed. They could stay as long as they're not in like the middle of the site and they're going to cause any issues. And as long as they're not going too high up, sleeping in hammock tents. May we have access to the 2023 Nobi theme artwork to make troop t-shirts for camp?
Can they have access to the artwork to make t-shirts for camp?
Not our preference. We sell t-shirts in the trading post. We would put up a low res artwork, but we have a lot of people that work very, very hard on those designs.
Age for welding is 16 plus. Welding has been one of our most popular programs for the older scouts. So we've limited it to 16 and older. This way we can kind of prioritize them getting in there, as well as kind of keeping a safe size on the classes for it. Shower facilities, they're all private. They're all private stalls at this point with closed and locking doors. If scouts do horsemanship, will they partial their other merit badges, or is it possible to still complete their merit badges? We set it up where we let all of our counselors know that if they miss for horsemanship, that they're going to work with them and kind of get them to be able to complete their badges. So that's not a problem. Scouts pay fees in cash, or can they also bring checks? They can bring checks with them if they want to for the trading post, or cash is probably the easier way to go. But they could bring checks. We do accept checks there. What are the recommended dimensions for a foot locker to fit properly under the cots? I want to say the cots are 18 inches off the ground, but I don't have an exact measurement on that.
Mark, I think that the plastic style foot lockers fit. I don't know if any of the classic old-fashioned bigger ones fit, but I know those plastic ones, unless I'm mistaken, they fit. But if it's an adult, when they get in the cot, they will be on top of the foot locker.
The backrest.
And there is a decent amount of space between the two cots on the sides. Will there be an alternate food options available for the scouts with food allergies, egg, gluten, etc.? There is an alternative menu available that's posted on campnovibosco.org. If you go online, and I'm just checking it out here, if you go online and take a look at resources, it says camp menu. You can click on the full menu there and see what we offer, what we're able to offer as an alternative menu on the second page. So our leaders not allowed to take pictures of their scouts when they're doing events. You can take pictures around camp of your scouts. That's fine. Is there internet available for adults to get a little bit of work done? If we have power.
Well,
Usually.
right now we're on a personal hotspot running this. We are still waiting. We're promised soon, but it won't be during the summer, for a high-speed internet that'll make it easier for the leaders. We still have the old, it's not old for us, it's new, DSL available. That will be at the camp office only, is the only location for the leaders to get a little bit of work done. You should not plan on anything with a high video or picture content.
Like a Zoom. How much money should a scout bring roughly? Given current prices, I would say anywhere from $40 plus. Candy will be somewhere around $1.25 to $1.50. Sodas are somewhere around $1 to $1.50. And then knives and things like that are all in the kind of $15 range. So if anybody wanted things like that. Dietary restrictions, do we need to register food options before coming to camp? We do offer the alternative menu. We're able to prepare for that for the summer. But if there's anything else that doesn't meet that, that would be up to you to provide there. OA Day is Wednesday in camp. We encourage everyone to wear their sashes and to participate. Is there a troop photo on the first day available as an option? We do it at Monday night after dinner. We'll take a troop photo of everyone in camp. For everyone. Jimmy, shoot me an email about bugling. No open-toed shoes, right? You can wear open-toed shoes around camp, like sandals if you were moving. We do discourage it though, because we're covered in rocks. I think we got that. I'm at 8:24, so we're only about 10 minutes behind here. Recommended way for scouts to pack gear or clothing for the week: a duffel bag, a trunk. That really is a personal preference for it. Both work, both are easily able to be done. Can leaders use their own tent if it's labeled no claims in tent? Yes. Can first aid and emergency preparedness merit badge be taken together? Yes. So one of the requirements for emergency prep is to complete first aid merit badge. What would happen is if you successfully pass first aid merit badge, you can let the counselor for e-prep know, and then they'll be able to sign off that requirement and mark it as complete. For archery, do we have to buy our own kit and bring it to camp, or can scouts buy it at the store in camp? Personally, I encourage you to buy everything at the camp trading post, and not just because it helps my number, but because our counselors are used to using those things. So for example, the basketry kit and the stool kit, they're very good at setting those up and know what those are. So we have all the kits available for any merit badges that we require supplies for. Dimensions of a dining hall plaque is 18 by 18. We can't do any larger. We're running out of space in there. So if you are making a plaque, and for those of you that don't know, at the end of the week, we often encourage troops to leave a plaque to commemorate their time. Our dining hall is filled with them going back to 1966. So if you want to make one listing the scouts and everyone who came this week, just can't be larger than 18 by 18. Can you send out the no flame sign for tents so we can print it out ahead of time? We've got a bunch of them. They're laminated, so we can hand those out when we get there. Not a huge deal for it. Is there any meal prep in the campsite, or are all meals done in the dining hall?
All meals are in the dining hall. You can do meal prep in the campsite if you enjoy the bears, the raccoons, and the skunks.
Does the trading post sell bags of ice? They don't sell bags of ice, but we do have a ice machine in our leaders lounge. As long as it doesn't get used up too fast, it should have plenty of ice there, or as long as it's not too hot, there should be plenty of ice to put in coolers or put in water jugs for the troop back in the site and things like that.
And it's free.
And it's free. Yeah. Angela shared a nice picture of a trunk there that looks good. It's only $26 from Walmart, so that sounds good. Can a doctor attach their own vaccination records to the BSA medical form as long as they reference it and sign the original form? Great question, Josh. They can attach their own immunization records, vaccine records. As long as we can see it and read it, that's fine. Can you explain how the merit badges work and need to be scheduled with staff? For a number of merit badges that aren't hugely popular or require a lot of prereqs, things like insect study, I'm looking for some others. Essentially what they would do is they would go to the counselor on Monday and say, hey, I've completed the prerequisites for hiking. I'd like to try and take this badge. And then our counselor would form a time or kind of set up a time, probably during siesta or one of their down periods, to work with them and talk to them and kind of go through the rest of the questions there. My email is marc, M-A-R-C, @nobibosco.org. We are from out of council. Can you do an OA call out for the OA? Yes, we do an OA call out on Wednesday. And we'll recognize anyone who's been inducted or elected into their lodge for the last year.
But we do not do an induction, just so you're aware of that. We do a recognition ceremony.
For classes requiring pre-sign up, does each troop sign up the scouts, or does each individual scout sign up for him or herself? That again depends on the leader and whether or not they've opened up the parent portal. If they have not opened up the parent portal, then the leader signs them up. If they have opened it up, then it goes to the individual scout to do it. Troop pictures will be taken Monday night after dinner. Can scouts do any partials apart from the regular merit badge they signed up for? It's a tough question. We have 6 merit badge periods during the day. If they had everything completed except for the 20 nights for camping, for example, and they have a signed partial from another counselor or a different camp, then they could speak to the Scoutcraft department and try to get that signed off. If they're missing probably half the requirements, then I would say they should probably take the class again. Are the SPL meetings in the evening, at lunch, or in the morning? Those will all be announced during the week. So usually they're after breakfast or they're after lunch. And we do one Monday, Tuesday, so on and so on. We also do a leaders meeting each day, and they're announced at different times throughout the week. So leaders can know and work their way up there. Do you call out everyone that made Eagle Scout this year? It's a nice idea. I like that. But we haven't, but I like that idea. What's the best type of bug net to get?
The ones we sell at the trading post, of course.
It really depends on the best bug net. Our tents are probably, they're slanted, so it's probably about 6 feet or 5 feet here, and then about 3 or 4 feet here. And you would tie it onto something. A lot of troops have really neat setups with tennis balls and dowels and things like that they put on the end of the cot. I will try and find some pictures of that so we can share them on our social media or on our website, so people can see them. But we do have a really nice bug oasis in the trading post. Do scouts need to register for first class adventure in advance? Can they resist? When they arrive to the camp? No, you don't need to register in advance for first class adventure. You would just show up at the first period on Monday at the first class adventure site, and the program director, as well as Todd and I, will be pointing them out in those directions. Does a scout at Nobi, or does a week at Nobi count for camp out requirements? If so, how many? The camping requirements allow for 1 week at camp or 1 week of long-term camp to count towards those 20 days. So if they've gone to another camp or they've come to Nobi before, they can get the 1 week. If the parent portal is open to parents, can the leaders still enter merit badges for the scouts who need help? That's a great question, and I'm going to refer that to Marissa at the council. If you want to shoot her an email about that one, but I will try to find out that answer tomorrow as well. Hula hoops hold up the bug nets pretty well. Good suggestion, Ed. Will there be campfires in camp this year, or is there a fire watch? Thankfully, given the amount of rain we got this week, we should be good, at least for the short term here. We're really hoping it's going to stay up. Like, wow, we're going to hope the rain doesn't keep going this way, but just enough that we're able to continue to have fires. If you weren't with us last summer, a couple of weeks, we ended up in a fire watch, and we had to create a nice fake fire with some tablecloths and lights and fans and things like that.
Well, Mark, we're kind of wrapping up here, and we can certainly continue to answer emails. I did want to just mention to everybody that even though we all love being at camp here this week, setting things up, which we do, camp is really not camp until that dining hall roof starts getting raised by scouts singing and cheering, and the campfire site is really not the campfire until those leaves start shaking from your scouts. So we are certainly really looking forward to all of you coming up here to join us. And that's really when the excitement begins, and really when it becomes Camp Novi Bosco.
To answer Patricia's question before I think we start to call it a night, the sunrise hike is usually Wednesday or Thursday. It really depends on the weather and depends on what's going on kind of that week. If it's bad weather, obviously we don't want to go up the mountain. So thank you all for coming. If you have questions, you can keep putting them in. We'll keep answering them. But thanks for coming. We'll see you at camp. Is there a polar bear swim? Yes, we do polar bear on, I think, 3 different days during the week, in the morning, and scouts are able to participate and go and take part in that. Jeff, I'm gonna try to post the link for the recording onto our YouTube page or onto our camp website. Koala bear swim, I like that better than polar bear swim this summer.
All right.
All right, folks. Look forward to seeing you all in camp.
Yeah,
Seeing you, maybe. Be nice.
We need to.
Can 3 girls share one tent?
Oh, wow, sorry.
No, I'm thinking size-wise, it wouldn't be very good or a pleasant experience to do that. What's the elevation for the hike? It's about 500 feet from the bottom or from the lake level up to the top. The tough part is the early morning start for it. What night is troop activity night? We've got troop activities on Tuesday and Wednesday night. And sign up for that will be happening in camp. For fishing merit badge, does the scout need to bring bait and rod, or can they buy them at camp? We do have bait in the trading post and we have some rods available. So scouts don't need to bring them, but they do need to make sure they know how to use them properly.
But if they're regular fisher people, they definitely should bring their favorite fishing rod.
Will scouts be able to do rappelling? We offer an open climb in the morning, so they could participate in that from 9 to 10, I want to say. Other than that, it's the merit badge time, is the other times that we have open for climbing. It is about 30 feet high, yes. So it would meet the camping requirement. First aid and e-prep can be taken at the same time. In order to earn e-prep, though, you need to successfully complete first aid merit badge. All right, have a great night, everybody.
Hi. We should stay to say hi to Mark and David, right?
Yeah.
Are we good to go, Mark?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, well, we're gonna go out into the dark here.
Rain, dark.
And the generator at the upper shower house stopped, so I need to look at it. I'm wondering if we're not out of fuel.
At least we'll have fuel for the rest of the summer.
All right, thanks, Mark. Thanks, Dave Copsa.
Thanks, everyone.
See ya. You wanna quit? Leave, yeah.